Hello, everybody. It's Probably Red, and today we're going to be looking at Cataclysm Arcade. We've got the Survivor faction, Rares, and Mythics. And here, oh, and another quick note: they changed how they did the Founders Edition. I mean, like on the database at least. So there's no card found in the Founders Edition. But for this, I know this is a pretty long side note, but for this series of videos, we're going to continue, but we're going to use Early Bird, and we're just going to keep calling it the Founders Edition for now, because I think that's what they kind of intended. But we do get some cool art on some of the cards for the early bird. Yeah. Okay. So let's begin. We've got EV the Fixer. Okay, so this is a level 1 survivor fighter. We're starting with the rares, by the way. So EV has 2 health and an attack cost of 2 with an attack damage of 1. By the way, their subtype is mechanic. So attack cost of other survivors on your team costs 1 token less. Pretty amazing ability here. The stats, the attack cost, even the attack damage, nothing to write home about. It's just okay. But when we get to the attack cost of other survivors on your team cost 1 token less, that's a powerful ability. All of your 1 token cost fighters now become 0 token cost fighters, just with 1 level 1 fighter being in play. Obviously, this is going to be a huge target for your opponent. So, to mitigate this, you're going to want enforcers, blockers, all that sort of thing. We saw some pretty cool blockers on the uncommon side and even the common side of the survivors faction. So, I think that there's going to be enough protection to protect EV, and the effect is powerful enough to risk running such a low statted unit. You probably won't even have enough time to use the stats except for the health by the time this gets wiped off the board. But if you do, you're going off. Every single one of your units is going to save you token efficiency on their attacks. It's going to get crazy. So, I think it's great. I think it's going to be competitive and very powerful. Would love to see it in play. I think it's going to you're already going for having lots of fighters. So, if you have EV, you're going to let's say you have 3 fighters, you saved 3 tokens. That's as much as cash money. Awesome card. Okay, so our next rare, and we've seen Cat 5 before from the print and play booster packs. She's a level 3 with 4 health, and she's got an attack cost of 3 with 1 attack. By the way, she's from the Redacted sub-faction. When Cat enters play, you gain a token for each other survivor on your team. That's amazing. Okay, so I was just talking about how much savings you could have with EV. Similarly, you're going to be gaining a lot of tokens that you can use to attack with. You could get towards the end of the round, people think you're about to pass. Then you play a level 3 fighter that gains you back a bunch of tokens and you're still going. Maybe a couple of people have already passed if you're in a multiplayer game. So that seems like that's going to be a strong ability for sure. Then the second ability is when Cat deals attack damage, she deals that much damage to another target boss or fighter. Amazing. Okay, so from the rip, no bonuses. You're going to deal 1 damage with your 3 token attack from Cat 5. Then you're going to deal 1 damage to anything else you want. Obviously, that's pretty cool, being able to split the damage. It's not as high of a damage output as you'd want, but she receives buffs like double. She pretty much has double strike, but she gets to choose where the damage goes. Amazing. And that includes a boss. So if they've blocked up their boss with enforcers and blockers and all that kind of stuff, you can still hit damage straight to face. Excellent, excellent card. It definitely needs support, but it also supports your team. I mean, that token generation is going to pretty much fuel any blockers that have token costs that can help her out. And it's going to fuel you up with more wield cost payments. So you can equip her up with some, maybe that makeshift shield. So she's got an armor or something else with a makeshift shield so they can block. Cool card. Really cool card. Okay, so we're moving on to a weapon now. We've got the Mayhem Fist. All right, so this is a level 2 weapon, and it's got a wield cost of 2 with plus X attack. So, like all weapons, it enters wielded to a fighter. And the wielder gets plus 1 attack for each survivor fighter on your team. No, it doesn't say fighter, it has to be a survivor fighter. And additionally, there's a downside of increasing the wielder's attack cost by 1 token. So, this can really go off. It kind of is reminiscent of, let's go ahead and find that card. He's the Lion Tamer. Can't remember. Flank. So he kind of gives the flank ability. The wielder gets plus 1 attack for each survivor fighter on your team. But this is any fighter. This is only survivors. If you're running a team that's only survivors, this is just as good. Hey, you could even give it to flank. In that case, he'd get plus 2 for each other fighter on your team, as long as they're all survivors. And his attack would go up to a pretty steep 4 attack cost. That's pretty intense. I mean, you can get that as early as level 4 when he comes out, but by then he's going to have a huge target if your opponent gets a turn. So you're going to want to set up with those, fighters you're playing with, like I said before, blockers, enforcers, and even responses. That's something I haven't really considered yet. You might have responses that can help him out too. We'll have to look into that more. I know that there's healing responses, but those can't go over max health. Okay. So that's the Mayhem Fist. Kind of has flank like, resemblance, but more specific to the fighter, survivor fighter faction. And that wield cost is, or not the wield cost, the increase the wielder's attack cost by 1 token is going to be felt. Okay. So, interesting card. We'll have to see if we can make it work. Oh, we got to go to rares. Oh, we got to go to mythics, actually. Those were the 3 rares, but we have 3 mythics, so that makes up for it. All right, we're up with San Yang. Okay, she's a level 4, and she's got 4 health. Her attack cost is X, and her attack damage is X. Interesting. I think we can see where this is going. Also, she's from the Redacted faction, by the way. And her first ability, when San Yang enters play, you gain 2 tokens. Amazing. Okay, so right then and there, that's I keep referring to cash money because it's like the most efficient gain on your token generation. Basically, since this costs 0, that's cash money right there. Okay, because you're only netting 2. You paid 1 token for the uh, response, and then you gain 3 back. So San Yang just gives you 2. That's the same amount that you're net gaining, or whatever it's called. So, second ability. San Yang's attack is equal to the amount of tokens you spend to attack with her. This can exceed 4. Can't. Cannot. Okay. So, a lot of versatility with this card. I mean, it's a mythic. So, it's going to be a bit complex. In this case, you could come in, if you could equip her with something like a weapon with the wield cost and stuff, go ahead and throw that weapon on there and attack for 0 attack cost. And whatever attack power that weapon's enhancing you with, she gets to do that for 0. Remember that Mayhem Fist we were just talking about? Imagine that. And that's not it. Her versatility continues. She can also be a 1 attack cost for 1 damage. Okay, so all the way up to 4 for 4. All right, that's a really decent amount of damage. In late game, you're going to have the tokens to spend and nothing to spend them on unless you have some really good card advantage. But yeah, that seems strong. And then you can also fit your turn around where San Yang is like needing to spend that amount. So if you have 2 tokens left, spend 2 tokens. And if you want to use San Yang early, I'm probably butchering that name. I'm sorry. If you want to use San Yang early, you just kind of plan your turn. Because, I mean, she's got 4 health, which is pretty decent, but it's still not like invincible. So you can go ahead and use her early in the turn and make sure you've planned the rest of your turn around how much you spent for the attack. I think that's a really cool card. Okay, next we got Kochi Platform Presence. Okay, so Kochi is a level 6. He's sitting on a pile of decimated synths. I like the spikes on that bat. It's a very like fancy spike bat, you know? And the shoulder pad's amazing too. Okay, so level 6, Kochi Platform Presence has 4 health. 1 attack cost for 2 attack. I like to see that. Steeplechasers is Kochi's subfaction. When Kochi enters play, heal target fighter to its maximum health. Excellent. Okay. So, additionally, he's got 2 more abilities. The first of those additional abilities is when Kochi heals a boss or fighter, he deals damage to target fighter equal to the total amount healed. Next ability, pay 3 tokens, tap Kochi, your team heals 1. Amazing. All around amazing. Okay, so let's break this down. He's kind of a spell, no tokens required until he attacks or does his other ability. But yeah, he comes in, he just full heals a fighter. That could be a 7 health or potentially, or more if you're running him with your synths instead of against them. And then you've got a like big modified thing that just, or fortified, sorry. You got a big fortified synth that's got like, I don't know, a ton of health, like 10, even more than that maybe. And just like, okay, they've gotten it down to like 3 or 4. It's getting kind of close. Go ahead and full heal it. Make them spend their entire turn doing nothing, and you've added to the board. And the second ability, uh, when he heals, he deals damage to target fighter equal to the total amount healed. So whatever was attacking you when you played Kochi is annihilated if you healed up a big fortified unit, or even one of those 7 health units, one of which is a synth. And then the third ability just makes it so you can just trigger that second ability, dealing that damage by collectively healing your team. We were talking about how improvised shield that gives block, it's a level 4 weapon. It gives block and it gives you the ability to have armor 1. I kind of said that backwards, but it's got armor 1 and it gives you the ability to block. Well, whatever fighter it's wielded with. So, with that in mind, you can make sure your whole team has distributed the damage amongst itself as you've blocked, as you've played enforcer units, as you've played priority units, and then outclass them. If your opponent isn't focusing down when you play Kochi and then they can't remove him or they can't remove one of your other units, you're going to heal everything. And then possibly deal with one of their fighters, depending on how wide your board's gone. Since you're playing the Survivor faction, you should be able to go high on that damage number. Only thing I don't like is 4 health. Wish it could be higher, but other than that, I mean, there's really nothing else to wish for with this card. Also, a slight nitpick. The 3 tap to heal everything isn't a response like it is with Mr. Purple, but maybe that would get too crazy, especially with the damage. They don't really tend to do damage dealing as a response. So that's probably one of the reasons they went with that, other than he is stacked with abilities already, and that would have just made it even crazier. Okay, and our last mythic of the day. And I know I talk about send the signal, or what is it called? I got to pull up the card. Okay. It's called give the signal. I talk about this card all the time. This and cash money. Those are my 2 pet cards right now. It's hard to talk about this card without actually mentioning the give the signal, because there is some subtle similarities between these cards. And no, I'm actually not being sarcastic. I'm being 100% honest. Check this out. So, this is called Go to the Videotape. It's 5 token cost tactic, and it says, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal any number of survivor fighters and put them in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in a random order. So, this looks at one less card, then give the signal, which reveals the top 5. But you reveal forgive the signal and you look at the top 4. You're still going to put them on the bottom of your deck in any order, but or in a random order, but I mean, your opponent gets less information. Kind of a weird distinction, honestly, with putting the rest on the bottom of your deck in a random order, but I digress. Then you're going to reveal those survivor fighters anyways, because how else would they know you got survivor fighters? And then you put them in your hand. This you may play. For each synth fighter revealed, you may play it or fortify it onto any one of your non-fortified synths without paying its cost. Okay, then the same thing. Put it on the bottom. This card may seem a lot worse. I think it's only a bit worse. Maybe even a good bit worse, but it's not terrible and it's not too much different. So, it's really nice that you can just fortify your synths without even having the fortify ability from what the text is saying. That's wild. Maybe it's only synths with fortify, but I think it's any synth can fortify. I would need to check clarification on that. But my point is you get one less card. That's bad. that means you have to have a lot higher density of actual survivor fighters. There's a slight benefit to this, and it's going to be kind of counteracted by um, give the signal in a second. But let's start with this. Go to the videotape, doesn't put them on the field. Since they cost 0, that shouldn't matter. Late game, like level 7, maybe level 6 and past, doesn't matter. You're good to go. Since this costs 5 tokens, unless you're cash moneying it out, then you kind of just don't care. It's fine. Put them in your hand. Play them in the order you want. Get that, the synergy of order of operations, which I'm pretty sure you could get that anyways by the synths landing in a certain order, but I don't know the specifics on that yet. So maybe you want to play a fighter, then attack, then do a response, and then play a tactic again, and then play another fighter. Or maybe the board state changed. Now you want to play this fighter. Something like that. Another thing is if you have level 7s, you can just get those out with, this is kind of the counterpoint. You can just get level 7s out, level 6s and 7s with give the signal, which is pretty wild, especially when it's like 5 of them. You got 3 level 6s, 2 level 7s. It's just bonkers. Well, it is kind of nice that you can't just get board cleared. You play, give the signal, then get board cleared by derailed. That would suck. This way, you can kind of play a unit. Maybe it's a 0 attack cost. Attack with it. Your opponent has to decide when they want to board clear you. Or even if they don't have enough actions, they might have to board clear before you get out of actions with all these cards you just drew that cost 0 tokens. So 5 token cost to draw between 0 and 4. And in the case that there's just no survivor fighters on the top of the deck, you get to get 4 cards closer to your next survivor fighter. That seems pretty good. I mean, that would be the worst case scenario, I would say. I think that this is not as good as Give the Signal, but I think it's not a bad card. Anyways, that's all for today. Give me your thoughts in the comments. Tell me why you think Go to the Videotape is a terrible card. Or maybe I missed something. Maybe there's something even better about this card. I mean, the artwork's pretty amazing. All right. So let's head out for the day. Thank you for listening. And please give me a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for listening again.